Hi guys, hope everyone is doing fine and staying hydrated. Before we start the lecture today, I want to give you guys some context on where I'm coming from. Previously, I've worked at global banks in the capacity of a quant, of a risk quant, and I've extensively worked in research projects regarding these topics. There was this one topic I've always resonated with that I really wanted to dive deeper, and I thought this would be the best opportunity to do that. So, it was around network risk, and what do I even mean by that, and how do we go about it is what I wanted to explore in this lecture. I've kept the language really to a level that anyone can understand it, but hopefully, you guys don't find this very jargony and can follow along. So, with that said, let's start the lecture. So, in today's lecture, we are going to explore how risk flows from one model to another and the different contradictory views around the law of conservation of risk. Now, firstly, when I say model risk flows from one to another, what do I even mean? So, at one of the research projects that I undertook at one of the global banks I was working with, we had mapped all the models in the bank onto one network where different models were connected to one another. Now, how were they even connected? Imagine one of the quantitative models whose output is interest rates, which actually feeds into another model who uses these interest rates to calculate mortgage. Similarly, a lot of these models are connected one to one another to form this huge network of models of a system. Now we have to analyze how risk will flow within them. With this picture set, we now have to analyze how risk flows from this interest rate model to the mortgage model. And the bigger question here is that is risk conserved while moving from the interest rate model to the mortgage model? Well, the answer is yes and no. And this is where it becomes interesting. From the quantitative analysis, it was actually found out that risk is not conserved but absorbed at the nodal level. Each node in the network had some capacity to absorb risk, and it did not just flow from one model to another. Now, what does it mean for our interest rate model? For example, if the interest rate model was at a risk score of 2, with 1 being the highest and 4 being the lowest risk score, the risk score of mortgage model was actually found out to be 3. But the story just gets interesting from here. While we observed that there was some level of nodal risk absorption, we found out that the risk score had a lagged effect, and the nodal risk actually flowed to the mortgage model in the next quarter. Essentially, if the risk score of the interest rate model was 2 in quarter 1, the lagged effect actually led to the mortgage model having a risk score of 2 in quarter 2. While one might argue that this is a correlation causation problem, or it might just be by chance, however, it was actually observed throughout the network. So, in conclusion, I would like to say that risk is not conserved, or the law of conservation of risk does not hold true if we take a snapshot of a network or a system. And there are ways to mitigate it, like buying an insurance or diversifying your portfolio and whatnot. However, if you actually look at the whole picture in continuum, we would say that risk has a lagged effect and is conserved. So one should appropriately be ready for it. So yeah, that was it for today's video. I really wanted to do this, and I'm glad I could get myself to scripting this and just putting it out in the universe, because this is one research topic I have been interested in since 2022, and till I publish like an official publication, I think this video will have to do, and it'll be a nice reminder for myself as well of what I wanted to go with. Now, for the further network series videos, I would want to pick up one social media network and just analyzing it, essentially like YouTube, Insta, Reddit, BeReal for that matter, and just understand the algorithm and the design and the system design behind it. So yeah, if you have any more suggestions of any social media that I would should cover first, or just like include in my list, let me know. And also let me know how you liked this video. If it was too technical, I will try to dumb it down from the further videos, and if it was just too up in the air, also just let me know. Yeah. And hopefully I maintained the consistency that I have promised here publicly. So yeah, it was really nice making this video. Okay, so thank you so much. Bye.